Now that the sea trout season on my home rivers have drawn to a close, my mind starts drifting to the sea trout in the southern hemisphere, and specifically those in the Rio Grande. It's certainly nice to break up the winter and chase the sea trout in South America before returning to essentially our spring, and the whole process starts all over again. And before going on any of these trips, you really build up the excitement, preparing your tackle, and for many, me included, fly tying is a really important part of building up to a trip, and also the excitement of a trip. You know, what will be, what may not be, but certainly fly tying helps build the excitement, but and also it's always nice to catch on your own fly, even in such locations. One of my very tried and tested patterns down there is a fly called the EMB, which is actually named after one of the estancias down there called Estancia Behety, which actually controls the majority of the left bank of the Rio Grande on the Argentine side. So this fly was actually named after Estancia Behety, EMB. This is a slight variation on that theme, but very much it is an EMB, which is essentially just a black body with white rubber legs. This pattern, as you can see, I'm actually tying it on a very strong wire curved shank hook, like a grub or shrimp hook. These are very strong hooks. I actually prefer to tie them on carp fishing hooks. They tend to be a much stronger wire than the majority of hooks specifically designated for fly tying, for trout and so forth. But if you can find a strong wire curved shank for steelhead, salmon and so forth, they will be perfect. If not, again, look towards the carp fishing world and you'll find some really strong wire, good quality hooks, including the one I've got in the vise here. I'm using a orange, pretty fluorescent orange tungsten bead on the front. Size of the hook is a size 8. The size of the tungsten is a 4mm tungsten bead. You can tie these all the way from perhaps a size 6 down to a 14, and then just vary the size of the bead accordingly. Very simple fly. So beyond the bead and the hook, there are literally only two materials to tie this fly. I'm very much a fan of creating patterns that you can rustle up a fly box in very little time and spend more time on the water versus more time at the vise. But you can build up a good collection of these flies very quickly, and they work really well. So if you are heading to the Rio Grande or the Rio Gallegos or wherever, I would really recommend just tying a few of these. So the body is micro cactus chenille. So if you know Fritz, this is basically like a really fine version of Fritz, and this is a black pearl version. It's really fine stuff. It's, hold on, if I take it off, it's 0.8mm in diameter, so really fine stuff. So this is the body. So that's one material, and the second body is would be the rubber legs, and they are Wapsi round rubber legs in medium and white, obviously. But that's all. Yeah, those are the two ingredients for this fly. So just begin by catching this in towards the head. So this is your tying thread as well as your body, essentially. So let's create a body there, and what we're going to do then, we're just going to snip there, because then that helps taper the body towards the rear. You can take this down as far as you like down the bend. You can just go past the bend. What I would usually do is just stop there, build it back up. So you've got two layers there. I would then stop towards the bead, go back down, only about halfway this time, because what you're now doing is you're building a taper into the fly. So that's perfect, just there. As you can see, we've got a much thinner profile down here, now a much thicker profile up here, which is perfect. Now come the rubber legs. Really simple. Take them behind your thread, up and over. That just catches the rubber legs in. Take one turn, two turns, just like that. And what I've done here, this is a little cheat for you. Tie them in before they come in big strands like this. So what you do is you just peel off two. Just hold them together though. Don't actually split them that stage. So I've actually tied them in as two which are still joined. That makes life a lot easier. When you're at that point, I've done a couple of touching turns just to catch them in place. What you can do then is another turn and then another couple of turns just behind the bead. And tie that off. Be a little bit careful with the fritz because the core is not that strong, and just tease it down. We will super glue behind the head, so just tease it down and it eventually just drops in behind the bead like that. There you go. Snip off the fritz as close as you can. And that is basically the fly done. I know it sounds daft because we haven't actually done much. And then so all you do is, because we've actually left these connected, when you snip them now, they're actually going to be exactly the same length. So we snip, and again at the top we just snip together like so, and then split after you've done that. Split them, and you can splay them a bit if you want as well. But that is basically the fly done. Really is that simple. You can see they literally take a couple of minutes to tie. It's a very effective pattern. 2 ingredients, 4 ingredients if you count the bead and the hook, but you can tie a box full of them very quickly. But a very effective pattern to catch sea trout in Argentina. I hope it brings you luck.